On this video, we're going to show you how to run an externally routed cable on an internally routed frame. Now, some of you may be wondering, why would you do this? Why would you want to run a cable on the outside of an internally routed frame? There's a couple of reasons. One is if you are going to change your brake set out, you got to, like, let's say you have a brake problem and you need to take off your old brake and put a new brake on, but your old brake that's broken is going to be fixed and it's going to come eventually. This way you can run the hose on the outside, so that way you can just pull it off without having to cut the hose and then put it, new olive and re-bleed it and all that jazz. So you could do that, all right? Another reason too is maybe if you want to run a different type of, like a dropper post, or you want to run a lockout to a rear shock that is not currently on one of your bikes. They don't have a port for that. So that's another option too. Also, if you're going to change frames soon and you're not going to be using the frame that you have and you're going to swap out frames, then you can run everything externally where you can swap it out a lot easier. Now for me, the reason why I am doing it is, one, I have a new brake set coming. Just got this frame that I built up, and I didn't want to cut my hose and have to re-bleed everything with the new brakes coming. Now when the new brakes come, I plan on doing that. Another reason is I'm currently reviewing the Rotor 1x13 group set, which is hydraulic shifting. So you can see this is a small hydraulic hose right here. Now the hose, this is not a big deal to run it internally, but you have to cut the hose, obviously put a new olive and barb in it and then bleed it. The problem is their bleed kit is $125 US. So I'm not going to spend $125 to run my hose internally just to review a product. So that's why I'm going to be doing this externally. Later on, when I run a regular cable, obviously I will run it internally. But yeah, let's get into it. A few things that you're going to need is obviously some zip ties. Zip ties save the world, right? You're also going to use a cable housing. This is just for a shifter cable, all right, the housing there. And then 2 of the ferrules. Ferrules are the parts that go on the end here. So you need 2 of those. You're basically just going to take your short cable housing and your ferrules, push the ferrules onto the cable housing, like so. Now this is a giant Anthem, and it has plugs here to run your cables internally. Most internally routed frames have some sort of plug like this. So, so what you want to do is pull out your plug, so that way you can use it to attach the frame there. So there we go, we got our plug out. And what we're going to do is actually, this piece here is just acting as an anchor for your zip tie right here. All right, so so pretty much we're just going to route the zip tie through the hole, around the housing, like so. And then when you hold on to this to keep it, somewhat tight. All right, so you're gonna hold on to that. And then when you fish it in, you're gonna fish this through right here, wedge it through like that, and then wedge it through like that. And you're basically just using the housing as an anchor point for this zip tie, okay? So you can see how it's working there. So as long as tension is on that, it's gonna stay there, okay? So you just keep the tension on your zip tie, pulling right there with your hands, and then you take your plug, push your plug in like so. Once again, keep that tension, and then you're going to take your hose or your cable housing, whatever it is that you want to run externally, run your zip tie through like so. And there you go. All right. So now it's mounted externally. You can see it's on there, it's solid, it's not moving around, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now we have it mounted up here. Now we got to figure out what we're going to do on the lower part. So let's figure out what we're going to do with the bottle cage bolts. We can utilize those to be able to further the mounting system. So down here at the bottle cage mount, we're going to use this to actually mount the cable again. So we have 2 mounting points right here to keep it straight and everything. And what you're gonna need for that is some sort of spacer to go under the cage. Now, these right here are usually the best. This is what will be used on your, if you have a front derailleur on like a road bike or something, that's the spacer that gives your bottle cage room for the front derailleur. So there are these spacers you can use, but if you're in a bind, you don't have any spacers, you're just using whatever's laying around the house, you can use basically a valve nut right here, and then just use it as a spacer. It just slides on just like that. So we're gonna do one of them now, and then you can double the process later. But you know, just like installing any kind of cage, you're just gonna run your nut through there, and then you're gonna take your spacer. I'm using the red one here just so hopefully you can see a little better with that. So, all right, we're going to install it right here. Obviously, if you are doing this, you know, you're gonna do the same down here, but all right. So we have the spacer there, and then we're gonna use our 2 zip ties, all right? And one zip tie is actually gonna be used just to attach to another zip tie. So let me show you what I'm talking about. With this zip tie, you're just attaching it to that spacer. All right, get a little notch there. Now take this zip tie, this is what's going to be attached to your actual cable and keep it in place. So you're going to take this one and run it right through there. And then you take this one, tighten it down. So now you're actually just tightening down onto this zip tie. And then this zip tie, you run around your hose and housing. And then there you are. All right.
Daddy.
Obviously.
Who are you talking to? You're talking to no one.
Yeah, I'm talking to no one right now. So then, as you see, it's on there very well. You can actually, you know, once again, you just trim this here, and then you can add another one here at the bottom to make it stronger and where it holds on place a little bit better. And then, so there you have your externally routed housing right here. Now on the Anthem, you can see down here, it actually keeps going down, and this is where it pops out on the Anthem, is under this plug here, then it routes here, and the rest of it's external on the Anthem all the way back to the rear. So some frames, obviously, it's going to be internal on your chainstay here, and you can really repeat what I did here. You can repeat it on your chainstays. Obviously, you're going to have a zip tie hanging on the outside, which doesn't look great, obviously, but just if it's temporary, then it's not a big deal. If you have more plugs like this that is on the chainstay, you can repeat this process down in the chainstay area. If you found this video beneficial, be sure to hit that like button. Also share it with any of your friends, and also subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next video.